Welcome students. Welcome to the class. The course you're studying is Animal Diversity 2 Biology of Chordates. Instructor is Dr. Sneha, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, St. Joseph's College for Women, Vishakhapatnam. And the topic what you're studying in this class is identification of poisonous snakes. Contents include identification of poisonous snakes, comparison between venomous and non-venomous snakes. Learning outcomes of this topic is you can learn to recognize physical characteristics and behaviors that distinguish poisonous snakes, such as distinctive color and patterns from non-poisonous ones. You can differentiate between venomous snakes that inject venom through fangs and non-venomous snakes that use constriction or swallowing prey whole. Introduction. In India, in our country, snakes are represented by over more than 200 species, which are distributed across 11 different families. In our country, if you're going to see, many of these snakes are non-poisonous, are completely harmless. The exoskeleton of snakes consists of scales and shields, and the arrangement of these scales and shields is completely different and peculiar from species to species. So we going to use this arrangement, unique arrangement. It is a very important basis or characteristic to identify the snake. Diversity in our country, as that's what we're talking about. Most of Indian snakes are non-venomous and harmless. In our country, like 330 species of snakes can be seen. From this, only 69 are venomous, and from this 69, 29 species are belongs to the sea snake category, and the remaining 40 species are land snakes. In venomous snakes, we can see they're going to have the venomous apparatus. That is what very long, hollow, grooved fangs, which are actually designed especially to inject venom into the prey's body. These fangs are typically located at the front of the mouth in vipers, because the position of this fangs is going to vary from snake to snake. That's what we're discussing here. As you can see, that's what I'm telling. In vipers, these fangs are located in the in front of the mouth, and we can see in other species the fangs might be present at rear end in some other species of venomous snakes. And fangs length and position is also going to vary. As we can see, vipers have very long hinged type of fangs that can fold back, retract back when they're not in use. On the other hand, in some other snakes such as cobras, which going to have very shorter size of the fangs, these are basically fixed ones. They can't move. So this is what the different type of fangs length and position we can see in different types of snake species. The venomous snakes can be identified by careful observation of some basic characters or structures. That's what we will discuss in the next coming slides, one after one. The first thing what we can see, with the help of that we can able to say, like if you got bitten by any type of snake, if you're going to observe the fang markings, with the help of this, the bite mark, we can able to say that snake belongs to venomous category or non-venomous category. As you can clearly see in this picture, that's what here it is shown. We can see as non-venomous snakes, they're going to have a series of teeth. They don't have any fangs actually, because they're completely non-venomous. Their body is not going to produce any type of venom. So that's why if you got bitten by any type of non-venomous snake, you can clearly see the bite marking is going to looks like this. On the other hand, if you're going to see if you got bitten by a venomous snake, we can clearly see the two fang marks here. Could you see the that means the large two hole like structures? That means this is indicating you got bitten by the venomous snake. That is what. So by seeing these two bite marks, so this is the first step actually to identify whether you got bitten by the venomous snake or non-venomous snake. Next is we can, by observing the nature of tail, we can able to say, or we can able to identify whether you have encountered with a venomous snake or non-venomous snake. That's what we will see here in this slide. If you're going to observe, the tail is flat and laterally compressed, like what we can see here. It is a flat tail and compressed type of tail. So this indicating that you have encountered with a sea snake which belongs to the category of venomous category. On the other hand, if you encountered with a type of snake, the tail of the snake is basically short and a blunt type of ending is there like this. Okay, now so that means like blunt and short is indicating that is a completely non-venomous snake. That is what, for example, sand boa, we can see this type of tail structure. There is one more tail structure we can see here. That is what the tail is round and cylindrical, actually, like here exactly. So this might be venomous or non-venomous. Okay, now so we have to we require further examination of other characters. By seeing those characters only, we can able to say whether it is venomous or non-venomous. But here, by observing the tail, we can at least say if the tail is flat or laterally compressed, it is completely venomous. On the other hand, if the tail is short or blunt, it is basically non-venomous. So where basically needs further, which character needs further examination is if the tail is round or cylindrical. So now our next step to identify, that's what, if tail is cylindrical, then it needs the further examination. That's what we're going to examine is what? The observation of the ventral scales, the scales which are present on ventral side of the body. So now we will see here, if the scales are small. If the scales are small, what happens is that snake is completely, that means underneath the belly region, are that type of snake is completely non-venomous, such as greater snake. So where we can see small type of ventral scales. On the other hand, if we are able to encounter with the ventral scales which are partially covering the belly, like I will show in the next slide. So if the partially covered ventral scales are seen, then if you're going to see that is actually again non-venomous, such as in pythons. Okay, we will see here in this slide. Could you see that is what we're talking about? So this is what uniform small belly scales, the small scales, that's what we already talked about. It is a completely non-poisonous category. And here also, if you're going to see this the pattern of the scales here, these are very small. That is what the underneath the belly. So this is also a non-poisonous category. But if we are going to encounter with this type of the scale arrangement, that is what broad ventral scales which are covering the entire width of the belly. So this snake might again belongs to the venomous or non-venomous category, which actually requires further examination. So now that's what, if you encountered with that big ventral scales which are covering that entire length of the belly, so that is what further examination. So in such case, you're going to start observing the head scales. So the head scales also, if you're going to encountered with small head scales, then snake with small head scales are basically venomous. They are actually vipers. So in this vipers also, if we're going to see like this small head scales, that's what we're talking about. So this is basically pitless viper. On the other hand, if you're going to see here, this is also poisonous pit viper because you could clearly see the presence of a pit here. Okay, now that is what, if the pit is present, then it is a pit viper. If the pit is absent, but the head is completely covered by a very, very small, tiny scales like this, right? And as well as triangular head. That is what one more clear-cut demarcation. So these two conditions are indicating what? They're completely poisonous snakes. They're very harmful. On the other hand, if you have encountered with large head shields, like in this picture, okay, so in this picture, so this snake might be again venomous or non-venomous, which actually needs further examination in next character. So as you could clearly see, the next character what we're going to consider is observation of jaw and vertebral scales. Okay, so now if you're going to see, that is what these pictures are showing here. If the vertebral scales are not large, they are not large, but here if you're going to see the third supralabial shield, that is what? Upper jaw. Okay, now here where I'm pointing out, see, this is the third supralabial shield is large, yes, and as well as it is touching both eye and nostril. Could you see here where I'm pointing out? This third supralabial shield is touching both eye and nostril. Then this snake is venomous. Shortly, that means it might be cobra or coral snake. So now coming to second category, if the vertebral scales are large and hexagonal, could you see their clear cut hexagonal the marking? We can clearly see here. Then again, this snake is very, very venomous. That is basically it belongs to the category of krait. So this is how we can basically able to identify by seeing all these 5 or 6 characteristics. We can able to identify whether the snake belongs to the poisonous category or non-poisonous category. So we're going to summarize this topic here by comparing these character. First is teeth. In non-venomous snakes, the teeth in the upper jaw are uniform and no fangs. In venomous snakes, the 2 fangs are present, which are a modified teeth. And the snake bite mark in non-venomous snake, many punctures made by maxillary teeth. So we can see a series of teeth markings. On the other hand, if you got bitten by a venomous snake, you can clear-cutly see 1 to 2 punctures because you got bitten by venomous snake, which are going to have fangs. Next, about color pattern, the non-venomous snakes are not that much bright, but still we have some exceptions such as the non-poisonous snakes like python and sand boa. They used to have brightly colored, but comparing to that, non-venomous snakes are not that much brighter than venomous snake color. And head, in non-venomous snake, they're going to have short and elongated type of head. On the other hand, in venomous snake, they're going to have triangular and broad type of head shape and structure. Coming to tail structure, in non-venomous snake, they're going to have cylindrical or blunt type of tail. On the other hand, in venomous snakes, they're going to have flat or cylindrical type of tail shape. Coming to ventral scales, in non-venomous snakes, they're going to have small or large, but not cover the entire belly region. With contradiction, in venomous snakes, they are large and as well as they're going to cover entire width of the belly region. Coming to head scales, they are in non-venomous snakes, their large shields are present. On the other hand, in venomous snakes, they are small or it might be large. In dorsal scales, if you're going to compare this character, in non-venomous snakes, they are large, not in hexagonal shape. But in venomous snakes, they are smaller, especially they are hexagonal in krait, which is a completely venomous snake. So this is what the summary, and this is how we can able to identify the poisonous snakes. And these are the various references cited for this topic. Thank you, students, for listening the class.